Hey everybody, I've been leading in carbon removal since when we launched AirMiners in 2017. And what that's meant for almost a decade is looking ahead and thinking about what's next. What does the world need? Where as a planet do we need to go for a stable climate and a thriving human civilization? Lately, I've been on a learning journey about solar radiation management. I can tell you that the scientific consensus is don't do this. Looking back over previous IPCC reports, surprisingly, most of them mention solar radiation management, but they consistently basically say, don't do this. Um, Now, the cutting edge of solar radiation management research is more saying, look, at least we should research this because it might be something that we need and something that we might be able to get to work and be safe. So my thinking generally about most topics is that when you start something new, you learn a bunch by actually doing it. And that learning by doing is something that's way more productive than thinking about it. And I've seen this over, I mean, since the beginning of the AirMiners community, whether it was people starting companies, people starting projects, people starting movements or marketing campaigns. Most of these people were starting companies, 200 startup founders from our accelerator program. And I met that, most people start with this sense of, oh, I'm gonna do some research, I'm gonna do some Googling, I'm gonna talk to experts in the field. And what I've seen is that there's a moment that separates people that seem to make progress from people that seem to get stuck. And the people that seem to get stuck, there's a point where they say, well, do I continue doing research? Do I continue talking to people? Do I continue thinking about that? And they decide yes. And the people that seem to not get stuck sort of say, well, I've read a bunch about this. And I've talked to a bunch of people, and I'm going to try this thing. And so the pulling back from this, the framing I have is it's not that you should ask yourself, will this work? More the question is, how do we make this work and how do we make this safe? So for example, if I rewind to 2017, will carbon removal work? I don't know, it didn't seem like it would. Even if somebody asked me today, will carbon removal work? I don't know. I mean, I hope so. I hope it works. AirMiners for nearly a decade has been the place for people to ask the question, how do we make this work? How do we make carbon removal work and scale? How do we make this safe? How do we get to a stable climate and a thriving human civilization? That we need to work on solar radiation management is maybe something that I'm totally alone in. But if I start on this path, maybe I'll learn something important, or I'll build a community, or I'll find other people that are heading down this same path. Lastly, I have to say this, I don't like that this might be the next step right now. But I think it might be nonetheless. I could be completely wrong about this over the next couple months. Maybe this isn't a best option. Maybe there's no way to do it, no way to make it safe, no way to make it scalable. But coming back from the beginning of my work on climate, I'm not tied to any particular solution. People love asking me this question, what's your favorite method of carbon removal? And you know that what I'm committed to is a balanced planet and a thriving human civilization. I'm open to all the different flavors and the paths that can take to get there. So I'm going down the path that looks like it leads to that. I'm curious if this is something that you're following, or heck, even if it's something you're not following, how do you think we can make solar radiation management work? How do you think we can make it safe? How do you think we can make it scalable? I'd love to hear from you.